Good morning, my friends, and welcome back to another segment of Hanging with the Boss Lady. I am your host, the Boss Lady herself, Cheryl Jones, aka that little old country girl. How are you doing today? I pray that you all are doing well. Well, I have a fantastic segment in store for you today. Today's podcast is dedicated to all the seniors, of which I am one of, to the retirees, of which I am one of, and for those that possess a handicap sticker for their car, of which I do. Today's segment is just for you. You ready? Let's go. All right, here we go. On today's podcast, I'm reaching out to you from a place of familiarity. Not all, but many seniors find themselves being reluctantly and unwillingly members of the forgotten crew. And when I say that, I mean many times we get left behind. Yes, we really do. Many times, as life continues its hectic pace, the slow pace of seniors will cause them to be left behind. And being left behind can be painful, hurtful, and depressing. So I wanted to let those of you that may find themselves, or if you know someone that finds themselves in this situation, I want to let you know that there is more to your story, my dear. Just because we can't keep up with those that are jet setting around all over the place all the time, never being still, going at a hectic pace, it does not mean that we have to just park over in a corner and let cobwebs begin to form on around us, okay? I'm saying we have to do something. And the topic and the name of today's podcast is Doing is Healing. Doing something gives you a purpose. Now, I'm going to start back with the retirees. Those of us who have been blessed, thank God for His mercy and His grace. He let us work a job long enough that we could retire from that job. And do you remember, for those of you, if you've been a retiree for a number of years, and even those who are recent retirees, is it not the greatest feeling to know that you do not have to get up and punch a clock, but you will still get a paycheck? Now, how awesome is that? It's fantastic. I absolutely love it. And let me tell you, if I could have, knowing what I know now about the status of a retiree, I would have retired a long time ago if it was possible to do. Because after a while, I just got tired of week after month, after year, after year, after year, missing out on so many family activities and events, and just to go and punch a clock and keep someone else's business going. And now I can stay home, get up when I like, and stay up as late as I like, and don't have to worry about being late for work, don't have to worry about going in when it's too cold, don't have to worry about getting stuck with overtime. All of these things are behind us, and to top it off, the icing on the cake is we get a check. Isn't that awesome? Now, how many of you would like to just stay in that status? Both my hands are up because I absolutely love it. So being a retiree, it's a beautiful thing. However, as you progress into your season of retirement, you get older. And as you get older, a lot of times people will look at you different because now you're getting used to moving at your own pace and not having to be somewhere on time at a certain time. So you just say, well, I'll get there when I get there. But those people who still have that hurry up and keep going mindset, you're too slow for them. So you know what they do? They will leave you. And you will find yourself many times home alone. Okay? So as I'm thinking about those that are in that position, I can see where sometimes it might make you hesitate, and it will sometimes take the enjoyment out of your retirement because you know you're ready to enjoy life, but everybody feels like you're a hindrance. Well, not everybody. Many people will feel like you're a hindrance, and they feel like, well, you don't have nothing else to do, but I got a lot of stuff to do, and I can't afford to wait for you. So sadly, being retired sometimes puts other people in the mindset that you have to stay behind because they can't afford to wait for you. And that's the retirement part. Let's talk about the senior part. Being a senior, again, to God be the glory. It's a beautiful thing because it means that you are still alive after decades. You have been alive for at least 60 years, 60 times around the sun. Myself, I've gone around the sun 66 times. And to God be the glory, I'm so grateful for every single minute that I've been here. And I love it. Yes, I am a senior and proud to be. It's a beautiful thing. And I thank God that I can say I'm still standing. I'm still alive. Now, let's talk about that senior thing a little bit. As your years begin to extend and you get into the higher numbers where you begin to feel your age, and a lot of different things come upon you in connection with being a senior. You don't always have to get a sickness. A lot of times young people feel like when you get old, you get sick. It depends on what your lifestyle was. It depends on your eating habits. It depends on, your pattern of living. But many times, as your numbers get bigger, you tend to get a little slower. Why? Because you're getting older and you can't keep up the pace of a 21-year-old. If you're in your 60s and 70s and 80s, you can't keep up with the 20s and the 30-year-olds because they have a pace that's insane. You remember how we were. You remember how we were at 21, at 19, in our early 30s. Oh my gosh. There was nothing we wouldn't do pretty much. But the older you get, you slow down and you take a breath because you can't keep up with that pace anymore, which when it comes down to it, a lot of people feel like they can't afford to wait. They don't want to. It's just too much for them to just sit and wait for you to get there. So they will, say, okay, you stay here. I'll just bring it back to you. How many of you have experienced that? Okay, now myself, I am 66 and I have, a couple of health conditions that prevent me from keeping up with my lively children and grandchildren. They're always going someplace. So I walk with a walker, and many times I just don't go because I see what it is that they have to go through to get me there, fighting with the walker, putting it in the car, helping me get out of it, making sure I have it sturdy. And where everyone else is going ahead, one or two will stay back with me. And they said, no, we'll just meet you when you get there. So I slow people down. And a lot of times the seniors, what we do, we don't want to impose on people. So we will say, you know what? Y'all just go ahead. I'll just stay here. No, you go ahead and have fun. When you finish, I'll just be sitting here. I'm fine. I'm fine. And it causes us to be, left out of a lot of things. And as I said before, sometimes that feeling of being left out can be hurtful, painful, and oftentimes depressing. So I want to talk now about the third thing, the handicap. Okay, now I actually I am a part of all three. I fit into all three categories. I am a senior and I am a retiree, and I also have a handicap. I'm not even going to go into what that is. I'm just going to say that I do have a handicap, which causes me to many times be left out of things. Wherever I go, I have to find out how many stairs is there. Is there an elevator? How close to the facility can we park? Because, I cannot do a lot of walking. So, when we are in those type of situations, then we sometimes say, I'm just not going to go. You just take a lot of pictures, take a lot of videos, and make sure, you share it with me when you come back. And I'll be fine. I'll just stay here and it's okay. Don't worry about me. I'm okay. How many of you have found yourself in that position? I would say many of us have found ourselves in that situation. But what I want to say today is, as we get older and we are blessed with the privilege of retiring, the privilege of becoming a senior citizen, and although we may have to deal with certain ailments that cause us to be labeled as a handicapped person, we still have a lot to add to our story. And today's segment is about giving you some tips about some of the things that we can do to make life more pleasurable, more involved, that there are a lot of things that we can still do. Okay? Understand that it's not over for us. By no means is it over. There are a lot of things that we can do. And I do a lot of these things. Now, let me just say a little bit about what my situation is. I am a grandmother. God bless, of 11 children. One of my beautiful babies has transitioned, and she's our little angel, Lily. But the rest of my beautiful grandchildren, I love them with my entire heart. I actually live with 2 of them. I did live with 4, but now it's down to 2 grands. But I see the other 2 all the time. 4 of my grandchildren live in another location, and another 4 live in New York. So, because I'm actually in the house with these beautiful gems, and my daughters are single parents, I help with the raising of the children. I'm home with them. And one of them is a rambunctious 1-year-old who is very, very, very strong-headed. Strong-willed little boy will do only what he wants when he wants, and you can call him until your voice leaves. If he does not want to turn around and look at you, he will not. So my day is filled with training this young man into being a very complying child who will listen and do what you say when you ask him. And My other young, rambunctious young man is a 5-year-old who has the energy of 20 ever ready batteries, never wants to be still, and will talk your head off. And these two together keep me busy all during the day. Now, I don't get out much because of my handicap, but while I'm indoors during the day, trust and believe me, I am always busy. Many times. Sometimes I wish I could be less busy. Sometimes I wish I could be bored. I wish I could have the house to myself just to hear silence. It's golden. Not complaining at all because I love what I do. But there are those who do not have the opportunity to be around their grandchildren and keep them busy all during the day. Sometimes, as they've gotten older and the children move out and they find that they are now an empty nester, just them by themselves or them and their companion, you walk from room to room. The telephone doesn't ring. You don't get any text messages. You can't remember the last time your children stopped by so you could visit with the grandchildren, or you don't have anyone to just come and pick you up and take you to the store, pick you up and take you to church, or, just run little errands for you, do little things around the yard or around the house that you yourself cannot do. And you find yourself in a position where you feel left out, where you feel lonely and you feel abandoned. However, I want to share with you things that you can do so you're not in that position. I don't want you to feel like you've been abandoned. I don't want you to feel like you're lonely. I don't want you to feel like, people have just tossed you to the side and they're not coming back to see about you. Okay? I want you to know that you are still relevant. You are still important. You still have a lot to contribute. And it is vital that you know this so that you don't sit thinking that they just tossed you out like yesterday's old newspaper and you're no good anymore. Nope. That is not the thing. That is not the category that you fit in. Okay? So, here are some activities that you can do, my friend, to fill up your day. See, when you do something, doing is healing. When you sit and do nothing, you feel like your life is just over and you hurt. But in order to get better, you have to busy yourself. Find something to do. When you don't do, family members tend to place you in nursing homes because they will say, well, look at the place is falling apart, she doesn't, or he doesn't have anyone to help do this, and if nobody goes by there, they won't get anything done, and that's dangerous, and I can't afford to keep going by there. So they will feel like you need to be placed in a nursing home. But when you do, you look forward to doing. When you do for yourself and do things, it gives you a reason to look forward to tomorrow because, I got my meeting tomorrow, or I got my group tomorrow, or I have my event tomorrow that I'm a part of. And it actually rejuvenates you. It actually stirs you up and makes you feel like you want to do more. You want to keep living. You want to get involved with life. You want to heal and continue to thrive. Now, before I start listing what it is that you can do, let me just say this. Just because a person is getting older doesn't mean that they have to stop living. A lot of people that categorize that in their minds, that because you're older, now you have to just go sit down somewhere and be still. In fact, It's been shown that seniors who get out and have activities and interests that they can pursue, they are much happier. And it is a fact. You see, a lot of recreational activities are out there. There are a lot of recreational activities available to seniors. Now, if you didn't know it, now you know it. There's a lot of things that you can do. And listen, if you're a social media person like myself, you will see that there are many, many people on social media who are busy out there doing it. However, I do know of personally quite a few seniors, elderly people who have just pretty much sat and folded their hands on their lap, stare blankly out the window because they feel like there's nothing else for me to do. What can I do? So, I'm going to share with you some of the things that you can do as a hobby for seniors. Get a hobby. That's one of the things you can do. You can get a hobby in arts and crafts. You can get a hobby in painting. You can take up pottery. You can take up jewelry making. You can join a cooking class. You can go to bingo. You can start doing puzzles. These are some of the things that you can do that will occupy your mind so that you won't just be sitting and wasting away doing absolutely nothing, sinking into pity and depression. And I'm saying this because I do know that there are many people who do this very thing because they are not included in the happenings that they see around them. They begin to feel like they are useless and they cannot contribute anymore. Just because you are not a part of other people's agenda doesn't mean you cannot have your own agenda. Doing is healing. Doing is important because it keeps you free in your mind to know that you still have more to your story. Another thing that you can do, you can join a book club. Book clubs are awesome. You can volunteer. There are a lot of places that take volunteers. You can actually be one of the people that gives aid to others, and it makes you feel so adequate. You can take up gardening. You can take up golfing. You can do yoga. And you can do fishing. These are just a few of the hobbies that you can take up to make yourself busy so that you are doing something. Remember, doing is healing. Now, I'm not saying that every senior, every retiree, everyone who has a handicap should all of a sudden get up and just start doing things. If you are content with the peace and tranquility you get with just taking it easy and taking it slow and, enjoying the solitude and the peace of being in your sanctuary, there's nothing wrong with that as long as it is not leading you to feel depressed, as long as it is not leading you to feel isolated, lonely, that you are put aside, that there is no usefulness for you. If that is not the case, then congratulations to you. By all means, continue to enjoy your life, however way it brings you happiness and peacefulness. But if you are of the mind that you've just been thrown away, that no one cares, that there's nothing else for you to do because you're older and you can't move as fast and you can't contribute like you used to, then by all means find something to do that will make you happy. Find something to do because doing is healing. You have to know that there is something for you to do. And this last part is for those family members of the elderly, that senior citizen and the retiree and possibly someone who has a handicap. This is for you, okay? Remember back in the days when you were just starting out and they were in their prime, they made sure that you had. They supported you. They encouraged you. And now that you are up and moving and jet setting all around and they've slowed down, do not throw them away like yesterday's newspaper. Keep in touch with the elderly members of your community and your family. Okay? Keep frequent contact with them. Okay, try and make it a regular part of your life to call your elderly loved ones often. You will be surprised how wonderful a person will feel when you pick up the phone and say, I was thinking about you, or I'm just calling to say hi, to hear your voice. How you doing? Is everything all right? It's wonderful to know that someone thinks about you enough to stop their day, pick up the phone, and call you. It's priceless. And then the next thing, regularly visit in person. You have grandchildren that hasn't seen grandma, grandpa in a while, take those kids to see grandparents. Okay, these days, the grandchildren expect the grandparents to come see them. But back when my mom was alive and well, all the grandchildren always made their way to grandma's house regularly. And especially for Sunday dinner and holiday time, we all came to grandma's house, sat around the table, and had a big, beautiful feast. But today they've gotten to the mindset, well, grandma, she can come over here. She's not doing nothing. Why don't they come and see us? Keep in touch with the elderly, all right? Teach your elderly people how to use technology. You can Zoom and have a conversation with them and they see your smiling face. Oh my goodness, you have no idea how funny and wonderful that would be. Crack jokes, laugh and talk. They will absolutely love seeing you and those beautiful grandchildren on the Zoom call or just FaceTime them. It's wonderful just to take time out of your day to make them feel included and special. And then encourage them to pick a hobby or an interest and ask them, what are you doing with yourself these days? You know what, I was thinking about you when I saw so doing this here. How would you like to try to do something like that? Try to encourage them to take up a hobby or an interest, because we don't want these wonderful people who supported and blessed us when we were younger and needed the support. Now that we have, quote unquote, arrived, we don't want to just toss them out like yesterday's newspaper. So we want to encourage our elderly and our senior citizens and our retirees and possibly handicapped to keep living with pride. Make them know that they are not forgotten. Make them know that they are still greatly appreciated, because prayerfully, hopefully, if God continues to shower favor on you, long life will be yours. And one day you will be in that position. You will be older, and you do not want it to happen to you. So I encourage you, let's keep on encouraging and loving on the elderly. And for all you elders and senior citizens, congratulations again. Make sure you do something. Do something with your life, because doing is healing. And that's all I have to say for today. I hope you did enjoy this podcast. And if you did, will you please leave a comment or share your thoughts, and make sure you share it with someone that you know that it may apply to. And if you have not already done so, please hit that subscribe button. I will greatly appreciate that. And I'm going to let you get back to the remainder of your day. And until we meet again, may the Lord God bless you real good. Bosslady out.